What is something a lot of people find attractive that is actually a turn-off for you? Toxygen said, cosmetics and plastic surgeries are much more common than we think. I knew a coworker who had a smile on his face every single day, even when he was kind of irritated, his mouth would just sit in his smile. I was like, I wish I could do that. Then I found out he just had cheek implants to raise his cheeks and I felt dumb. Waxwork said, yep. People get pissy when I suggest Paul Rudd has had work done. Guy has had more Botox, chemical peels and treatments than can be counted to stay looking like he does. He just has his done well, done in small increments so no sudden changes and done often so he stays looking fresh. I would suggest at a high enough disposable income point and up it would be hard to find a man or woman who hasn't had some work done, even if it's just an injectable, something to make their hair grow, eyebrows shaped. I think most people below that income point don't understand just what is available. LilyRose 2489 said, any level of machismo or physical aggression in men. I do not want you to get mad in my defense over little things. I also do not want to see you punch a wall in your rage. I will actually end up worrying that you are going to pick a dumb fight or break something over a stupid thing. Your rage makes me nervous even if it's not directed at me. It's not a turn on. Like sure, if someone is actually trying to hurt me or creep on me, I don't mind a guy stepping in to help. But it should be a last resort. I much prefer a man who wants to just leave or de-escalate a situation as calmly as possible. Betrayer Batterer said, most fascinating thing. I was mocked in school for having extremely long, thick lashes, spider eye they would call me. Now they're running to salons trying to get that very thing done for a lot of money. I once had a dude in a club try to rip off my fake lashes. He was so pissed at fake everything, he felt he needed to teach me a lesson. He made my lid pop off my eye socket with an audible smack. Lord Jambrex said, I never understood why people kill for those Louis Vuitton handbags. It's a damn piece of brown leather with the same logo just slapped around it and they look horrible. Imminent Real Daddy said, so many men don't understand the difference between cocky and confident. It's so annoying. Edit, I'm a gay dude so dudes replying with jabs at women ain't doing shit to me, just yourself. That being said, yes, some women can't tell the difference and I've also been duped a couple times. It happens, it's life. Baba Grit said, possessiveness. Talk to my woman man, you'll have me to mess with is so unattractive me feels like the person sees their partner as an object in their life that they need to defend, not a full-ass human who they can trust. Naughty Fox 360 said, men or women who use the line I'm not afraid to speak my mind, or I'm opinionated. You're not a bold confident person, you're an asshole. Plenty of stuff I don't say in my head because it's inappropriate or mean. Thurnund Taxi said, it's interesting how men can have strong preferences for high voices or low voices. I have a pretty low voice for a woman and my college boyfriend, who in retrospect was kind of an asshole, used to tell me how he wished my voice was higher because it would be more feminine. Then the next guy I dated absolutely loved the fact that I had a low voice and said that really high voices were a turn off for him. I don't know if it's just a coincidence, but the first guy who liked high voices tended to be attracted to younger women, not literal children as far as I knew, but 18-19-year-olds, while the second guy tended to be attracted to older women, not like elderly women, just somewhat older than him. Kaya75 said, I'm curious if she ever tried deepening her voice to sound more mature. I had a friend with a high baby voice that was promoted. She said one of the things her female boss told her to do was to deepen her voice and to talk slower in order to get more respect. She told me she was very insulted that her boss told her to do these things. She was talented and wouldn't change for other people. But sure enough, a few weeks later she followed her boss's advice and was getting a lot more respect and a lot more done. I also can't help but wonder if some of the ladies mentioned in this thread who raise their voice around guys are doing the opposite, lowering their natural voice in order to get more respect. Look into Lee said, SNL did a skit with Jack Black where he was an ogre and a town offers up a virgin to him to be sacrificed. Jack Black's character eventually asks for a slutty, older woman instead. Gore Kenlet, maybe we can strike a little bargain here. Sir Parrish, I might be willing to listen to something. Gorkinlet, I'll let you live, and you can take the virgin with you. But you have to bring me back a slutty girl. Sir Parish, confused and outraged. What? Gorkinlet, you know, like a bored housewife who's kind of hot and feels neglected by her husband. Sir Parish, but you don't want a virgin? Gorkinlet, I'll be honest with you, buddy, on paper, a virgin sounds great. But in reality, not that good. Sir Parish, but I thought even a monster would desire someone who was pure. Gorkinlet, I'm just looking for a woman who knows what she's doing. Hendika Pibera said. Once I was sitting in my mom's car playing Minecraft at the very back of the car while she was picking up my dad, and a bunch of teenage boys came up to the car and I thought they were about to steal the car. But now, they just started taking pics and at one point one guy was holding a door like he was about to get in and drive. After their photo shoot they just left. I'll never understand why people do these things. The Bertinator 3000 said. Most drug-free bodybuilders actually don't look super huge until the shirt comes off. I don't have a problem with people using them, but drugs have really skewed people's perspectives of what drug-free bodybuilding looks like. Edit. Look up the WNBF, World Natural Bodybuilding Federation, if you want to see what the creme de la creme of natural bodybuilding looks like. And even these people look less insane when they aren't super lean for the competition. You can only stay that lean for short periods of time. Crazed Waffle Party said. I read somewhere that women don't actually like criminals, but those who are willing to break the rules in fun ways that are ultimately benign. It's more about the carefree, energetic, and exciting attitude than the breaking the law. Some people also have a hero complex and want to take on the role of the redeemer in their own little fantasy. Sheepsclothingus Will said. A big dick. It's intimidating and all I can think is ow. Edit. A lot of questions about how big is too big. Let's just say I call my G-spot Waldo because it's always hiding and neither extra length nor extra girth have found him but agility has come close. Anything over 6 inches lengthwise and like a teenager's hitchhiking thumb size widthwise is too big for me personally. 4-6 length is perfect. Even under that is fine as long as it has the agility of a ravenous snake. Edit 2. I feel like people are misconstruing my thumb analogy. I don't mean the thickness of a thumb, I mean holding it sideways like a hitchhiker. So, 1/2 inches maybe? Alakachimkin said. Your friend should do lots of foreplay before any penetration. When she's finally begging for sex, try putting it in only halfway at first for a bit. Don't be bending her like a pretzel right away, just take it easy and slow at first. When positions, angle or speed changes, keep asking how it feels so your partners will feel comfortable with giving you feedback if it becomes too intense. Make it flirtatious and fun, I promise that consideration won't ruin the mood. How's that? Do you like that? You still good, babe? You want clear affirmations, otherwise stop. Missionary and prone bone positions are the safest bet. If you're a short king or she's too thick, you might have to modify prone bone by a, putting a pillow under her hips, b, have one of her legs bent and pulled up, or c, have her laying more on her side. Doggy is usually too painful intense, at the beginning, at least, but if you like the view, ask for reverse cowgirl so she's in control of the depth, angle, and speed. Praise is usually great lol, actually praise is amazing emo. Larger guys can be intimidating so tell her she's doing so well, that it feels amazing, etc. It takes us out of our heads and makes it fun knowing that you're enjoying yourself too. Make sure she knows her comfort and pleasure is of the utmost importance too though. Alakachimkin said. Consent needs to be enthusiastic during every sexual encounter and may be revoked at any time. If she seems uncomfortable or hesitant, check in and see if she's okay. If she asks to stop, understand the no and stop are both full sentences, and stop right away. Every partner is different though in their preferences, so communicate your likes and dislikes with each other and explore your bodies. I hope your friend has fun and finds this helpful. Edit. Controversial oral bonus tip to explore, if you're both willing. I've struggled in the past with oral on my ex's meat monster of a dick, and had to experiment to find what worked for me to also be comfortable during the act. Personally, I prefer laying on my back with my head hanging off of the bed. Not in a porno, face-fucking kind of way, though. Men, for the love of God, never default to thrusting during oral. I like to reach back and gently glide their hips towards my mouth with my hands. The gravity and positioning opens my airways, releases jaw tension, and reduces my gag reflex. Not for everyone, but don't knock it till you try it. Neurotic Backeter said, you can kind of mix up angles so you're working your stroke game instead of your jackhammer game. I don't have a dick so I can't describe as well as I wish, but lem try here. If you slam the doing straight forward, you're going to make a beeline for her cervix. Being nailed in the cervix with a big dick, at least for me, at least with an IUD, can feel exactly like getting kicked in the balls. It's a deep, nauseating ache that starts in the impact zone and kind of spreads up through your lower gut, makes you want to curl into a ball until it passes, which takes way longer than you'd expect. If you slow down and do a kind of scooping motion, that'll kind of press into the back wall, instead of making a straight shot for the cervix. It'll give you a little more control and should give both of you some deeper pressure. It'll also let you focus more on how your parts feel on each other, rather than just being the empty space between cervix slams. Honestly, I can't stop picturing that one scene from Wet Hot American Summer 2 where Joe Truglio's character teaches another character how to fuck. It's not the least accurate thing I've ever seen. Well, this is special said. A long time ago I had a friend set me up with one of her friends, and I'm not one to play the whole "I have to wait a few days to text" bullshit. When we had our first date, I started texting her randomly, usually at the end of the day, just asking how was your day? And shit like that. Not over the top constant, literally just at the start. Then my friend called and told me, you're texting too much. Chill out. So I said cool. I'll just stop altogether then. She was like, no. You don't have to do that. I was like, no, fuck that. I don't play that stupid game. If once a day toward the end of the day is too much, then I'm done. Luckily the girl texted me and told me she never said to her friend that I was texting too much and she was cool with it. I still fucking hate texting though. Edit. Yes, I'm well aware that the girl probably did mention it to my friend, lol. I just let it go. Plus, if you knew my friend, I wouldn't doubt that she actually did make it up herself. She is insane, friend, not girl I dated, although girl I dated is kind of insane as well, just not nearly as bad, lol. Narf said. Yup, not playing. Never did. Partially because I'm oblivious, but also because I respect people's words. If you tell me no when I ask you to hang out alone with me, or be generally vague and unable to commit to a date, I'll take that as not being enthusiastic about the prospect of hanging out me, so I won't pester people. I'm an introvert, so I understand that some people will need some prodding, but again, I'll take you on your word. And as an introvert, asking you out is already a lot of energy I'm expending. After that, I'll assume you want a relationship to be friends at best. Unable Shift 6674 said. For the most part, it's nothing like that nowadays. I mean, in some instances it might be for special assignments, but I haven't been deployed to someplace where I haven't had stable internet in over a decade. Yes, it's still long amounts of time away, but you get to talk pretty much every day, and heck, my last deployment I had my iPhone and was able to call, iMessage and FaceTime. Now what you described was more like my first time in Iraq, or even my second deployment, but even in Afghanistan I was able to Skype almost every night. That was back in 2012. But it is difficult, don't get me wrong. It's not for everyone, and I don't blame you one bit for your thoughts on it. It's just not as bad as you may think. However, you do have other branches like the Navy that have subs that, from what I know, don't have any internet for the duration of their tour. So there wouldn't be contact during that time. Or special operations that certain contact would be restricted. No Illustrator 6462 said. Super muscular men, don't get me wrong, muscle definition when they are unintentional or flexing is super hot. But abs are just a no for me. I would rather he have a bit of padding. Guys that have a bit of chub will always get my number before a bodybuilder does. Teflonicus said. Anything implanted, triple so if it appears unnatural. Breast, butt, lip, cheek, chin, pec, bicep, calf, anything that has been improved. I'd prefer a half handful to 5 handfuls of man-made any day of the week. I know it's the artificiality that turns me off, but I also suspect that it's the superficial fickle mindset behind the person as well. The reason I suspect that this is the case is because I have no problem being attracted to people who have had surgery to replace what they have lost to illness or accident. It's a very difficult thing to explain logically. Lindveeder said, "Not that you necessarily do this, but I've noticed a trend that when people say they prefer natural looks, it's usually in comparison to a rough natural idea. Men will often say they dislike breast implants, but generally are comparing it to an idea of naturally round, symmetrical, perky medium-sized breasts. But on an individual woman, are fake B or C cup breasts less attractive than somewhat asymmetrical, droopy, small breasts? Women do similar. Plenty of women say they prefer men to not be too muscular or not have gym bodies, even with a bit of belly. But few of them are referring to men with sloping shoulders, a sunken chest, rail-thin arms, and a pot belly. They generally mean a man fortunate enough to naturally have strong arms, a broad chest and back, and fat distribution that gives him strong physique even with a bit of fat. For men who are very skinny naturally, or don't carry fat in a visually pleasant way, how many of those women prefer that particular man to look natural versus how he'd look if he worked out and built up some muscle?" Shuishaheim said, "This will get buried, but ambition, or being extremely driven goal-oriented. I find it usually manifests as workaholism or over-prioritization of your job, or whatever dedicated hobby your ambition is tied to. Obviously I want someone to be able to hold down a job and have meaningful hobbies, but overall I get along much better with leisure-driven people who live a well-balanced and easygoing life over people who have lofty goals or a go-getter personality. I am leisure-driven myself, and tend to feel pressured, both directly and indirectly, by goal-oriented people. That's not something I want out of a partner." Edited to clarify, leisure equals laziness. For instance, I like outdoor activities and it's important that I can share them with a partner. I'm also creative and that's something that's fun to do with a partner as well. That is collaborating on a game campaign. These are leisure activities, but they are not passive activities. They still take a degree of effort and often skill. What I'm incompatible with is people whose enjoyment of life or sense of identity fulfillment is based around a sense of productivity, measurable progress, or sacrifice, or who struggle not to project these attributes onto others. It was really cool to see people grow into my way of thinking and living during the pandemic. People who had never thought twice about gaming, baking, or exercise picked up Animal Crossing, sourdough starters, and remote fitness classes, because the notion of being good at something fell away in favor of, oh hey, this seems cool, or I don't necessarily need to get better at this to have fun doing it or sharing it with others. The people I am most compatible with are naturally this way. Current North 1366 said, "I've tried initiating in the past, but men seem to have been put off by my forwardness and attribute it to me being kinda slutty or desperate. The, admittedly few, times I've tried to initiate with men have backfired so spectacularly, that I'm apprehensive to do it again because I'm not sure how they'll react. Would men really like it if women initiated? Have my past experiences just been with assholes who don't accurately reflect most of the ways guys think?" Edit. To clarify, the instances I referred to were after a man had approached me to initiate the conversation, but once I attempted to turn a flirtatious conversation into a date, that's when they got weird. It's almost like they didn't mind approaching me, but they wanted to do the actual date asking and get uncomfortable when I beat them to it. I get rejected quite often, so I'm used to that. I'm just more confused when it happens after they've set the ball in motion in the first place. Imaginary Raven said, "Amen. And 90% of them think winged eyeliner plus bright lipstick equals a lot of makeup but are unable to see that a lot of the people they point out is natural, not wearing all that makeup shit like those other hoes are often wearing the same amount or more makeup lol. As someone who rarely and sparingly wears makeup, combo of skin sensitivities plus being bad at applying it tbh, I also get ready to run the other way when dudes say stuff like that. There's often a thinly veiled incel vibe to it, where it's either an attempt to make themselves look better than other dudes or contempt for all the women who won't date them but are clearly wearing all that makeup for attention." Stark at 0W0 said, "I agree. It's not bad to have a preference, everyone does. But the kind of people you were referring to are the ones that think but you look so beautiful without makeup, you don't need all that, or but I think you look prettier without makeup is a compliment. I don't wear makeup for men. When I do my hair I'm not thinking about what men will think about it. It's unattractive because it comes from a place of entitlement. It would be the same if they made the same comments about not wearing makeup. No one is entitled to you because you were a person. You do not exist for other people's pleasure desires. That's why it's unattractive and, at least to me, quite offensive. I say men because that is my experience, but it isn't okay in any circumstance. Val 41795 said, "Mushy romantic people, ugh, makes me cringe. I told the guy I was dating that I wasn't really the romantic type, hoping he would take the hint that he could tone down on all the compliments. He replied that he would be the romantic one and turned it up to 10, gifts, homemade chocolate, strawberries and all. Nice guy, but it gave me the ick and killed any attraction. Please stop, I'm not your princess or whatever. Haha, other female friends have told me that I date like a man, so maybe I'm weird? Seeing couples on social media being cutesy with each other has always made me go lol gross. Just be a chill, cool person and give me some breathing room." Abra said, "Men playing the guitar. I absolutely hate it. The bass? Yeah, okay, cool. Drums? Absolute fucking badass, but the guitar? I've never met a genuinely nice man who knows how to play guitar. 50-50 shot of being incredibly clingy and needs to have solid sincere eye contact while he plays or talks to you for 8 hours, or just a complete dick with no regard for others." Edit. Took out the aggressive parts that I wrote while a little more fired up than needed for my opinion. Just my experiences thus far with Malay guitarists that severely skewed my view of them.